Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukidam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadhilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasishtha Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, Section 20. Sage Vasishtha gives insight into the practice of upasana. Upasana is what ordinarily termed as puja, and puja is of two types. Early stage of worship focused on sagun, sakar. You have a divine picture, divine form before you. As well as your mind goes after divine stotras and various attributes of God. So that state is apara puja. It's a lower stage of the puja. Para puja, God is all permeating. And most importantly, the I am in you is nothing but the divine self. So from apara, you have to go into the para level. Same applies with apara bhakti and para bhakti. Sage Vasishtha continues to impart this Sri Rama. After being in samadhi for a little while, I became slightly externalized and saw before me an effulgent light that dazzled in white radiance like millions of moons. Startled, I soon saw the dazzling form of Lord Shiva before me. He was accompanied by Goddess Gauri, Nandi and other attendants. Darshan of God and repetition of mantra. You begin, as we have already explained, you begin your sadhana by being initiated into mantra. And mantra will be an aspect of God. So, all are not to focus on only one mantra. Different people have different tastes. Every aspirant chooses his mantra, Ishta mantra, under the guidance of Guru. Important to understand that Ishta mantra that you choose is representing Brahman, the Absolute. Therefore, all mantras are implied in the Ishta mantra. This doesn't mean that you will not turn to other mantras. You will turn to all mantras and stotras of all different gods without ever thinking that you are contradicting your Ishta Devata. Because all Devatas are same God with different aspects. This point has to be understood. Otherwise, you are in a kindergarten, growing up. Grow up. Next point. When you practice sadhana, there is always expectation that you will have Shiva darshan and you will have Shiva asking you for expressing your wish, what you want, ready to give you a boon, and so forth. That expectation keeps an aspirant under stress. And you go on counting how many malas you did, and what did Lord do? How many years of meditation you have done, and you haven't seen even the foot of the Nandi bull of Lord Shiva. This form of your mental attitude to darshan has to undergo modification, change, profound change. You begin with affirmation, don't wait. We give you a sample. You are doing just breathing exercise. Stay relaxed. As you are breathing in through both nostrils, relaxed, turn your attention on Om. I'm following Om Namah Shivaya. But when your attention is on Om, your mind should be completely magnanimous and free. Develop a sense that you have turned into a swan. Quickly, don't wait. So as you are doing Om, have a visualization of the Kailasha mountain. The wonderful slope going up. Oh. And then relax. That's Kumbhaka state. While relaxing, feel that you are having darshan of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, Lord Uma, Parvati Devi, Ganesha, or don't have to go into all details, but Shiva is the main highlight. And imagine that you are receiving a shower of His grace. And when you are breathing out, imagine you are rolling down. You are a swan, having been blessed with Shiva. Now with prasad all sucking in, you are coming down. Shivaya. Om, breathing in. Namah, communing with Shiva. Shivaya, coming down. Now you have darshan of God. So don't wait for darshan to push into your head. But create affirmation of darshan, and you'll be surprised that you are constantly having darshan, not only darshan, God with all His sudarshan is right in your own heart. So keeping that in view, you'll continue and you gain more insight. Again, while you are having darshan, allow your mind to have magnanimous imagination that God is luminous light. But that light of God is not torturing light to your eyes. The light that is of the moon, sun becomes cool as the moon, cooling your mind. In your imagination, you should not become restricted. Does the scripture say that? Am I doing something wrong? Not so. Upasana is swatantra. You are not dependent upon who says what. How you feel. Be guided by your own inner conscience. And you will find that a subtle window begins to open, allowing your vision to become more and more magnanimous. And that will apply to every mantra. If you are Ram Upasak, then you are breathing in, Om Shri Ramaya Namah, Om Shri, breathing in, Ramaya, enjoying communion, Namaha. And you are break the mantra according to your convenience in 3 stages. There again, there is no rule restricting you. And you can go to details for communing with Rama and go into details. Rama's mother Kaushalya is also there. And his whole set of divine assembly is there. Even you can imagine all gods are adoring Rama. So that the whole project must be free to your open mind. With his hand clasping the hand of Gauri, he was led onward by his attendant Nandi, who walked before him. I informed my pupils about this and hastened to offer flowers to the 3-eyed divinity. Here is an allegorical storyline that Shiva is coming to meet Vasishtha. And Vasishtha is relating this to Rama. I worshipped Lord Shiva with the recitation of various sacred hymns and scattered flowers before him. Then I performed worship of goddess Gauri along with her attendant goddesses. So all the details of Upasana. You are worshipping Rama. You may direct your attention to worship Lakshmana, worship Hanuman with different stotras, perfectly in harmony. Rather, it becomes more enriched. Your worship becomes more enriched when you have many angles through which you are worshipping the deity. That's why we have Sahasranam. Not one or two names, but the more the merrier. So we learn certain hymns. Namami Shamishana Nirvana Rupam Vibhum Vyapakam Brahma Vyadipya Swarupam, and so. And each deity has their stotras. Scriptures have lots of prayers and stotras relating to different deities. And you choose which is whatever inspires you. After my adorations, Lord Shiva, who holds a crescent moon on his forehead, spoke in nectarine words. His words were like nectarine rays from the lustrous moon. O sage, have you attained freedom from the miseries of the world process? Are your thoughts centered on the Supreme Self, who is the very embodiment of liberation? Have you attained that which ought to be attained? Have you brought about the cessation of the world process? Now, this is again allegorical. This is God's expectation of you. If He has come, develop a deep understanding that you are like a baby and God is like the most loving mother. So God is ever intent upon leading you to your highest goal, liberation. So that attitude towards God has to develop. O Rama, after the God of gods had spoken, I spoke with devotion and humility. O God of gods, three-eyed destined divinity, O Supreme One, whoever remembers you, for him there is nothing unattainable. Now this is a message you are receiving, the lesson that if you are remembering God, doing your japa and mentally visualizing, do not stress your mind with your problem. Bring the load down. Don't keep it. You are at a train. The very fact you are remembering God and surrendering to Him is the greatest act of worship. He whose mind is filled with the bliss of constant remembrance of your divine self. Again, remembrance implies many things. First stage of remembrance, if you are deity Shiva, then you remember stories from Shiva Puran and mentally allow that those different events, how Shiva performed various of his leelas, how he burnt up Bhasmasur, how he has placed the moon up in his crescent, the crescent moon in his matted locks and so forth, how the Ganga descended from his head. I'm just giving you some samples. And whatever story, and that type of atmosphere is built in your mind as you are remembering Shiva. But you are remembering Rama, then follow Ramayana stories. Or if you are remembering Krishna, follow Bhagavad Purana stories. All those stories are allegorical support for your upasana. But at this level of upasana, it is called Sagun Sakar. You need the form of God and the form associated with many other forms with a story. Now, as you are advancing, Sagun Sakar becomes more enriched by your mind turning to Sagun Nirakar. God, Lord Shiva, or Krishna, or Devi, whoever is your Ishta Devata. Your mind is not confined now. You are going a little higher and viewing that Shiva is everywhere. The Shiva is the indwelling reality in all living beings. I'm just giving you suddenly to a very high level, but you can have various types of Shiva's attributes. Shiva is the giver of wealth, giver of strength, remover of obstacles, depending upon your requirements, your needs, your sense of deficiency. Allow your worship to help you to to be relieved of your problem. But if your mind is confined only to that level of worshipping Shiva, then it is called Sakamya worship, and you remain a kid, not grown up. So Saguna Sakar also must, as like Saguna Sakar moved away, second step, Saguna Nirakar. But even Saguna Nirakar will move away in Para Bhakti or in Para Puja, and Nirgun Nirakar. Nirgun, God doesn't have any quality. Because qualities you think through your mind. And whatever you think is drop in the bucket. If you say God is joyous, full of bliss, what you are doing, you are using palabras. You are full of bliss means what? So leave it to God. The para state implies your worship has gone into the stage of profound vichar, spiritual reflection. He whose mind is filled with the bliss of constant remembrance of your divine self. Vasishtha is telling Shiva, that's in the storyline. Such a person is adored all over this world. Act of worshipping God has a universal effect. A devotee who is worshipping God in the profound way, that devotee becomes adorable all over the world. That we have to figure that how it can be possible. Because the devotee is a channel of God. And since God is the absolute reality and all glory belongs to Him, the devotee is being the channel. You are seeing the face of God through the personality of the devotee. He illumines the world around him by the radiance of his spiritual consciousness. That's referring to devotee. O God, by the repetition of your name, good karmas are multiplied 1,000 and many and million-fold. Now here is karma versus upasana. The real worship of God is in many stages. In beginning stage, you worship God to improve your karma. You did certain negative deeds and you worship God to reduce the power of negativity, turn your mind to positive virtues, and create good karmas for you. And that's perfectly normal. But do not stay confined to that level, because your goal is not in the realm of karma. No matter how wonderfully you have improved your karma, karma will not bring liberation. Liberation is not fruit of karma. Karma will bring always a condition or a situation in a world of time and space. And that will not be permanent. Karma allows your soul to enter into different conditions. It is a process of becoming. If soul feels miserable, it will become prosperous. And he feels prosperous, and still he is not satisfied. So he will become popular. Becoming again and again. Become. Karma movement is becoming movement. The profound movement towards God is not becoming, but being who you are essentially. Who am I? That attention moves towards revelation of your essential nature. And that essential nature is Brahman, the God. When your mind goes in that direction, now you are doing advanced form of upasana, advanced form of puja. Also must remember that different types of worship, they can blend in daily life. You do not move away from the lesser worship and keep always on a higher level. But the higher level remains most highlighted in your understanding. Just like you do various things in daily life. But there are certain things you do are more highlighted. So therefore, O God, by the repetition of your name, good karmas are multiplied 1,000 and million-fold. And now I have to figure that out. How can it be possible? Million-fold good karma. Because karma-based happiness, you will be, no matter how good karma has brought you wonderful time of happiness. But karma terminates, changes. And that's the definition of alpam, happiness that is dependent upon your karma. That's like you are depending on just a wave, while there is your goal is to attain the ocean. But when you are doing upasana in a profound way and moving away from karma, you are moving away from alpam. All your attainment was directed towards goals that were like little waves. But now your goal, even without you knowing it, opens up to infinite attainment. Purnamada, Purnam. You are moving from alpam to Purnam. The seed of virtue being nourished by your constant remembrance grows into the gigantic tree bearing the fruit of liberation. Now the virtue that grows is Daivi Sampat, the wealth of divine virtue, which climaxes into love of God, and that brings about self-effacement, leading to liberation. Repetition of your divine name is a gateway to liberation. So repetition of the name is not confined to just verbal repetition. The mind becomes so active in going into the depth of name, becomes like touch of God. Each name you are reciting as if you are being touched by God Himself. And if you are touched, then you must realize how wonderful it is. One should begin to develop that subtle sensitive feeling that the moment you begin to recite name, you are as if in the arms of God, or you are touched by God, or you are communing with God. Again, your heart is open according to your Swatantra movement. So repetition of your divine name is the gateway to liberation. It is the overflowing cup of nectar If you are sipping cup of nectar, how does it feel? Similarly, when you do your japa with your coconut head, you are sipping nectar. Is this magnanimous bhavana? That's the secret behind worship. But keeping bhavana miserable, that's going in a negative direction. That also is good, but very low stage, Dalavit stage. And that has also another risk. Because each time when you turn your mind, firstly, people turn the mind to God only when some big misery has suddenly appeared in life. And when you are doing it, you are seeing your whole personality crumbling, as it were, shaking with fear. Oh God, save me. So now you are visualizing it, terrible condition of your personality. And you are holding on to into your mind the terror that the mind is experiencing. So each time you are thinking of God, God has become associated with all the misery. For masses, there is no other way. But as I have said, even that is wonderful, that we are turning to God. But staying just in that state, that's not wonderful. In other words, when you don't have any misery, train your mind to love God, turn to God, and become addicted to enjoying the sweetness of nectar that sips from your mantra. Your mantra is kind of a cup of nectar. All this I am saying is to be assimilated by you progressively, little by little. O Lord, by your grace, I experience a sense of fullness on all sides. So imagine a person doing meditation or devotion with a keen desire. So desire is on fire on his head all the time. But here, doing the same worship, no fire on the head, no desire. The more you come closer to God, God takes over what you should desire, what you shouldn't desire. So, Vasishtha says to Lord Shiva, by your grace I experience a sense of fullness on all sides. However, there is one question lurking in my mind, which I will request you to answer. O Lord, what's the best manner of divine worship, which will remove all sins and give all that is auspicious? Please be gracious and explain this to me. Again, allegorical story. When you hear Shiva himself tell, then what can be more authentic than that? Lord Shiva said, O best among the knowers of Brahman, I will explain to you the highest form of worship of the divine self, by the adoption of which one attains liberation from the cycle of births and deaths. That's the real purpose of worship, not to be in the worship. O sage, the supreme divinity is neither Brahma nor Indra. He is neither Vishnu nor myself. He is beyond all names and forms. Now, who is telling it? Lord Shiva. Pointing to Nirgun Nirakar, Brahman. So we started with Sagun Sakar, form and divine attributes together. Then we go into Sagun Nirakar, no form but divine attributes. And then we go into Nirgun Nirakar, no form, no attributes, nothing. O best among the Brahmins, the supreme divinity is neither a king nor a Brahmin. He is neither a particular god nor a particular living being. He is neither the body nor the mind nor any objects of the world. He is pure consciousness. Where is consciousness? That would figure that out. Pure consciousness. You can't exist without your awareness. That awareness is the foundation of all your experiences. How do you experience? Because you are conscious. What is that consciousness? All experiences are reflections in pure consciousness. Experiences come and go, but your awareness, even the awareness of great loss or great gain, even if you would develop the awareness of absolute nihilism, absolute despair, still you are aware of that. When you say God doesn't exist, but you are aware that awareness exists. That pure consciousness, Chaitanya, the embodiment of supreme bliss, is pointing Satchit Ananda, existence, consciousness and bliss. That type of reflection in your mind and allowing your understanding of God not to be somewhere distant. But you have distanced yourself because of your own ignorance. And your own nature is like a reflected sun, has distanced itself from the real sun. Figurative language. For those who are unaware of the true principle in the form of supreme divinity, the scriptures have enjoined the worship of various divinities. The worship of divinity expressing himself through various forms such as Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma and others. In other words, that's the purpose. The purpose behind worshipping so many deities is to enable you to come to another stage of worshipping the deity through so many aspects. First, you are thinking of deities separate. When you worship, ask certain things of Lakshmi Devi, you want Saraswati Devi little away. We're joking, but the idea is you view gods separate from each other, having different functions. But that's early stage. Next stage, it is the same God who is Saraswati to lead you to success, inspirational project. Lakshmi to give you wealth, Hanuman to give you strength, Durga Devi to remove obstacles. The same deity doing all those things. And that deity of deities is Brahman. When these deities are propitiated, they confer on their worshippers the limited objects of their desire. But when the Supreme Self is worshipped, when you begin to view all the deities as different aspects of same God, that's what we mean when the Supreme Self is worshipped. One attains the highest goal in the form of unbounded bliss, Paramanand. Those who seek perishable fruits of desires and turn away from the bliss of the self are like those dull-witted ones who leave behind the divine tree of Mandara in order to run into a forest of thorny bushes. This allegorical language showing that one side you attain infinity, Bhuma, which is Kalpaka tree, fulfills all your desires. On the other side, you go after Alpam, little pleasures, and they are more thorns than happiness. And with this we conclude. Om Ram 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 Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras grace over all and the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat.